I'm here talking with Daniel Licht, who is well known for his work on Dexter. And well, we could do a whole interview focused just on the show, but we're here to discuss Silent Hill Downpour, the latest installment in the game franchise. So, how did you get involved with the project?
Well, they they actually approached me. I think they were looking for a new composer, and I think that the composer for the Silent Hill series is Akira Yamaoka.
Yeah.
He's got a pretty big following, so I think they were hoping to appease the fans by getting the composer from Dexter, so that they wouldn't feel too disappointed about losing Akira as part of the series. So they approached my agent.
Yeah, because I remember when Akira Yamaoka announced that he wanted to move on from it, and I'm a pretty big fan of the game, so I was really interested to see who they would get. So now I'm talking to you.
Okay.
So how early in production were you involved? Well, first of all, was this your first video game?
This is my first video game. Yeah, I mean, I had done something for kind of a pre-release of a different video game, but this would be my first completed video game.
Mm-hmm. So, for a composer working on a video game, how early in production do you get started, and what material do you have to work off? Because I know everything is kind of getting tweaked and finished till the last minute. And are you working off of concept art, the script, or kind of early renders? Like, what do you use?
I think what I first sent me was I might have gotten the script first, and then they sent me a walkthrough of one of the first levels.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I started, based on the script in the first level. I never scored anything until I could see a walkthrough.
And was the walkthrough 100% finished?
No, it wasn't. No, it was not 100% finished.
Mm-hmm.
It was just enough to give me an idea of the feel of each level.
So looking back, I mean, this is not the first game in the franchise, and looking back at what Akira did, because I think not just me, but everyone else always associated Silent Hill with his music and the sound that he gave for the series. Did you use his work at all to build off of it?
Well, I definitely I didn't use any of his specific melodies.
Right.
But I definitely I was influenced by his work because I wanted to stay true to the sound of Silent Hill and
Mm-hmm.
not just have it have it sound like a completely different series. But I definitely did my own kind of take on it.
Right,
I didn't really have to stretch too much because we have sort of similar sensibilities. And I think that's one of the reasons why they hired me, is because I think that as composers we kind of tend to, or at times, run in similar directions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I tend to do a lot of music with pianos or harps or small groups, kind of interlocking, interreacting, kind of, and moody stuff.
No, yeah, you definitely captured the feel. I think I had a big smile on my face during the entire my entire listen through. It was really, you had the feel of it, but it also didn't feel like a copy or a carbon copy of what Akira did, which is great.
Yeah, I didn't want to do that. I mean, I wanted to have a new sound,
Mm-hmm.
a new feel.
So what did you want to achieve musically with your score specifically for Downpour? What did you want the music to do in the game?
Well, I mean, I wanted to become part of the scene, part of the scenario. I mean, there's different kinds of music. There's the kind of ambient music
Mm-hmm.
that you kind of usually run into when you first go into a level, or early on in a level. And then there's a kind of a more building suspense kind of music, and then there's the full-on fight or attack music, or running away music. But what I wanted to do was have the music create as much of a feel for the world as the world does. 'Cause to me, that's always kind of the fun and the excitement, is to be able to create a mood, an unsettling mood, or just a mood
Mm-hmm.
that augments what you're seeing.
Which Silent Hill, I mean, that's pretty much the game. What the game is, I think, just the way music and sound, and I think the game musically. Did you kind of experiment with different? Because I felt like your score kind of blended almost sound design and score too. There was a lot of abstract, electronic noises, sharp, screeches and stuff like that. Did you try to make it more, I guess, of a quilt of sounds for the soundscape?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I did very very sound effecty kind of things, industrial.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I never tried to kind of draw a sharp line between just sound and music.
Right.
I tried to make it all just a spectrum, or a continuum of just pure sound, and then pure musical things like a harp. And try to use everything in between, and playing a lot in the middle where you couldn't tell what something is, and doing effects on things and making them sound, unique. And I tried to mix things from interesting sound spaces too, using delays and reverbs, and really working on constructing a sound where you have things in the distance and in the nearby, and a lot of dimension. I tried to give as much dimension to music as I could.
Mm-hmm. Since this was your first kind of video game experience, and I've talked to other composers who worked in video games, does the having to write, I guess they use a lot of stems and stuff where music is triggered by the player. Did that affect your writing style at all, and how you wanted the music to interact in the game? Like, writing pieces that you didn't know when they would pop up, or it would only be triggered by certain things?
Well, just in terms of how I designed the music to kind of build, I didn't worry too much about the specifics. I'm kind of letting the programmers figure out how. I did give them stems, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know exactly what they did with it. I guess I'll find out when I play the game. Well, I know they could have, looped the first 3 bars or something.
Yeah.
So it may be a new experience for me once I play the game.
So did you have to keep like looping in mind? Did you have to design your tracks to be able to loop?
I did. Yes, generally the tracks are I designed so that they ended the same way they started.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't specifically, frame by frame cut the loop, but
Yeah.
I did start off a certain way, and I went through a journey with the cue, and I came back to the same kind of sound as it was at the beginning. Now, I don't know whether that in the game that may not work, because they may not want you to go back to the way it was in the beginning. So I don't know how they implemented the music in the game.
Right. And games are, I guess, they are lengthy experiences, and I've talked to game composers who've composed, just a normal 2 hours of music. Some composers said they, did 14 hours of music. How much music did you compose for Silent Hill?
14 hours of music?
Yeah, Woody Jackson told me for Red Dead Redemption they did 14 hours.
Wow. That's crazy.
I know. But
no, I did not do 14 hours of music. I did, less than that. I think I did around 80, 90 minutes of music.
So it's, I guess, comparable to a feature.
What's that?
It's like comparable to a feature almost.
Well, feature, that would be a pretty full feature. Maybe if, like a Michael Bay production might have that much music. I always believe less is more.
Mm-hmm.
I think a 90-minute film shouldn't have more than 50 minutes of music in it.
Yeah.
But 50 minutes of music in a film and 15 minutes of music in a video game are very different things. Because in a film, you generally will repeat motifs. You may repeat whole cues, exact quotes. But in a video game, you're handing in all new material. So 50 minutes of music all has to be 50 minutes of original material, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like the difference between, concentrated juice and and like real juice, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. And so looking back on the whole experience, what did you find the most challenging aspect of writing the score for Silent Hill?
Um, I wouldn't, I just, I guess I just really, I can't say that, it wasn't like there was a lot of puzzles to solve like a film.
Mm-hmm.
More like coming up with something that I liked, that they liked, would be the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Finding the sound was probably the biggest challenge. I mean, I would spend maybe a whole day working on one sound, whether it's, a synth pad or whatever.
Wow.
Just because I had a very specific thing in mind, and it was not, I didn't want to use anything that I've used before, that other people have used. I always wanted to find new sounds. And so that was probably the most challenging thing, was really just like laying out the sound palette for the whole thing.
Well, I think it has a very distinct sound and a very identifiable sound for the world, and it feels like Silent Hill, but it definitely feels like it's taking us in a new direction. So I really did enjoy the score. It was quite good.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
And so looking down the road, would you return to Silent Hill or any other video game in the future?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Definitely. I enjoy working on them.
And lastly, I know we didn't discuss much else besides Silent Hill, but I always like to ask composers if you had the chance to score any film ever made, with no disrespect to the original composer, what movie would you choose?
Oh, wow. Probably Spartacus.
Oh, that's a good one.
But I would never do that because that's such a great score.
Yeah, I know. No, it's I just find it really interesting because I haven't had the same answer from anybody. And
oh, really?
Yeah, it's really just cool to see what people, what kind of playground they would like to play in.
Yeah, no, I'd love to do a movie like that. Yeah.
But I'm out of questions for you for now. But thank you so much, Daniel, for taking the time.
Okay.